What's up, everybody? It is September 4th, 2012. It is a Tuesday. This is Post Every Day in September video number, well, technically 3, but 4. Today's video is going to focus on Jaws on Blu-ray. This was released on Blu-ray a few weeks ago, in part with Universal's 100th anniversary of their studio's founding or opening or whatever. So they're releasing, I think it's 10 or 12 of their what they call blockbuster movies. They also happen to be some of the best ever made. Indiana Jones, and of course, among others, and Jaws. Now, Jaws has a long history with me. Ever since I was a kid and found a copy of Jaws at Blockbuster when I was very young. We used to live in Mashpee, and we used to go to Blockbuster every Friday. My dad would let me rent a movie and a game, or one or the other. And I remember I rented Jaws, and I have loved it ever since. Yes, it was violent when I was younger. I didn't care. My dad was the kind of guy who didn't care either, but it's not like I was renting porno or anything. It's Jaws. I've had and still do have Jaws on VHS, DVD with the original mono soundtrack, another DVD with the DTS track, and of course a Laserdisc special edition, which for the Laserdisc that meant that it was in letterbox format, and it has the first really cool thing about the Jaws mythos, which was the making of Jaws, which was back when Roy Scheider was still alive. So when I found out that they were going to finally release Jaws on Blu-ray, I was very, very, very ecstatic. I was very interested to see how a film that's been around the ringer many times when it comes to enhancements was going to do on, a high definition format. And I will say flat out right now, it does not disappoint. Jaws on Blu-ray is clearly and easily the best it's ever looked. It's the best it's ever sounded, which I'll get into in a little bit. For what you get, I'll touch on this real quick. Best Buy was having an exclusive Best Buy version which contained a little booklet, which, whatever, you don't have to have it. It's the same movie, same contents. But I was like, alright, I'll buy that. I'll spend the extra $10. Well, it's not like I did not pre-order it. It's not like I showed up and it was sold out. That I would have understood and would have been like, okay, my bad, I should have pre-ordered. Every single Best Buy within 75 miles, of my location wasn't sold out, was not there. And I called them, and they said that I called 2 stores, and both of them said they never got the shipments in. Okay, when you have an exclusive and it's launch day and you don't have a copy, that's bullshit. So I had to resort to ordering it online because, unbeknownst to me, a lot more people than I anticipated went out and bought this on Blu-ray because places that did have it, like Sears and Target and Walmart, sold out. Which, hey, for once I'm happy a movie was sold out. So I bought this guy on Amazon and had to wait a couple of days. So what you're presented with is not just your standard Blu-ray case, which of course, there's something really nice about the Jaws poster where it's so simple. You just have the shark, the blue, and the white. It just looks awesome in this Blu-ray case. It comes with the DVD. The Blu-ray is actually in the player right now, and of course you can do the ultraviolet download and all that bullshit that I'll never use, because when I buy a Blu-ray disc, yeah, it's nice to have a digital copy, but you better watch the Blu-ray. But it also comes with a sleeve, which I'm going to talk about these probably in tomorrow's videos. I love sleeves. I love packaging. It's something that we don't see that often. Yes, I understand that some people think, oh god, it's something else for me to get through. If it's done well, they're awesome. For instance, this being a Blu-ray disc, but being the basic version, it's Velcroed, which is pretty cool. And it's really good Velcro, too. It's actually kind of hard to get out. Can't really see, but, it has a timeline on the bottom of dates. The Birds came out 3/28/63, Airport 3/5/70, all of the Universal releases, and of course Jaws, which was 6/20/75. It has, talks about, Universal, and of course talks about Jaws. Very nicely presented. very cool. One of the few cases from Universal that goes above and beyond, but also is kind of simple. So let's talk about what's on the movie, or on the disc, shall we? We got Blu-ray exclusive, The Shark is Still Working, The Impact of Jaws, The Impact and Legacy of Jaws. That's a huge thing for Jaws aficionados, fans, and just people who love the film. Because for a while now, I think it was 2004 that was finished, Jaws, The Shark is Still Working, was basically a fan-made film about Jaws and its impact on media, the culture, and fans themselves. You know, going to Martha's Vineyard like I've done twice now to scope out Jaws locations, seeing screenings of the film in the summer. You know, it also has new interviews with cast and people who worked on the film, and it's a really well presented documentary that tells you even more about Jaws. I thought I knew everything about Jaws for the most part, and nope, I learned something new. The way it's presented, it's not a, you know, Hollywood production making of. It doesn't have all those fine quality music bits. It actually has a soundtrack that I also purchased while I was at Jaws Fest, the Shark is Still Working soundtrack, and it's a very nice soundtrack, and it fits the documentary. When I say it doesn't have the uber music, like it doesn't have Hollywood soundtrack studio music, but that's probably the biggest thing on this Blu-ray besides the film itself, to finally have this thing released, because it's been kicked around for so long. And trust me, if you're a Jaws fan and you're not going to buy the Blu-ray, I don't know if it's available on the DVD version, but buy some version of it so you can at least watch this documentary. Pocketbook, Blue App, BD Live, whatever. Bonus features: the making of Jaws, again, the thing that's on the Laserdisc from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's 2 hours, which is actually quite long for a making of, but still pretty cool. Jaws the Restoration, yeah, that's basically something you can actually YouTube right now, and it's basically Universal talking about how they went back and edited the film to make it look the best it ever has. Now, I'll stop here for a second. I really don't like when studios go back and edit a film to make it look better when they do it half-assed. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you go back, like for instance, the second DVD release of Jaws had the brand new, never before released DTS and Dolby Digital 5.1 audio tracks, which, if you're a Jaws fan, you know that Jaws was released in a mono track, which to this day, to be completely honest with you, I've watched this now 3 times on Blu-ray. One with the new high-definition audio 7.1 track, and then, of course, once with the mono original track, just for nostalgia's sake, and then one more when I was kind of nitpicking, not the whole movie, but I was watching certain scenes. And the original Jaws mono track still holds up to this day. I mean, yes, it's mono, and on a current sound system, you know it's mono, but when it was originally re-edited, the sound, that is, sound effects were added in place of the original. It was, you know, it was better than the mono track, but it really wasn't. Sound effects were just too punchy in some instances. It overshadowed the dialogue. Of course, the infamous "Smile, you son of a bitch," because the movie is rated PG, they had to cut it in the sense so they had the explosion kind of mask the bitch part of that, which I really freaking hate. But this version, they went back and I'm not going to say they used different sound effects. They did add some nuances and background birds chirping and all that stuff, but they kept the original remake soundtrack, if you will, and just smoothed things out and made it seem more natural, more like today's films where you have the digital process of adding Foley and background noise and all that stuff, and it sounds absolutely amazing. It impressed me enough where I was watching it and thinking I was listening to, and hearing things that I've never heard before, which is probably partly true. They went back to the original stock negative that Universal has in its vault and gave it a bath treatment, a whole bunch of other stuff, and the movie looks absolutely stunning. There's only so much you can do. I mean, the movie is, how old is it? From 1975? That's getting up there. You know, I mean, I watched it on my 50-inch 1080p, and I'm not going to say it looks like it was made today, because it doesn't. Unlike the Blu-ray release of Terminator 1 from 1984, that looks like it was made today after they went back and redid it. That was amazing. But it's a lot clearer. You notice detail you've never seen before, like in the orca, especially on close-ups and faces, which this movie has a lot of. I'm not going to go too much into this because the video is running long, but if you want to know more about it, just buy the Blu-ray. Deleted scenes and outtakes, again, those are left over from the other DVD. From the set, the insider's look on the left side. Yeah, this is like a BBC documentary filmed on the vineyard while they were making the movie. It's not as elaborate, or I'm not gonna say it's not as fun to watch. Like, you can sit down and just pop on The Shark Is Still Working, or you can pop on the 2-hour behind the scenes making of, and you can sit there and be like entertained, you know. The other one from the set, it's kind of one of those things where even myself, I've watched it, but to watch it the second time, I'd probably just have it on next to me while doing stuff on the computer. But it's still a great documentary to see. Storyboards, production photos, marketing Jaws. I thought that was really cool. It talked about all the stuff that went into marketing for this film. And of course, after the fact, they have Phenomenon, Jaws the Phenomenon. Toys, posters, magazines, inflatable Jaws sharks. I mean, the list goes on. The original theatrical trailer, what release would it be without the original trailer? So overall, I'm very impressed with what they did with Jaws on Blu-ray. It's one of those things where you really have to see for yourself. Obviously, I'm just talking to you. I haven't shown any of the film because it would probably be flagged for copyright right away, even if I reverse the film. But if you're a fan of Jaws, or if you just want to add it to your collection, Jaws on Blu-ray, the way that they restored it, the way that they went about, Universal really did take care of this film. It's probably the ¡1 movie that they should take care of over any of their other releases, including Indiana Jones, as much as I love it, including Jurassic Park, E.T., whatever. I'm not going to talk about Jaws itself and how it affects me anymore, because this video has already run way too long, but I just wanted to talk about the Blu-ray release. It left me, literally, when I popped it on, it was still during the break-in process of my plasma, so I rewatched it about a week after the TV was broken in again, and it just left me breathless. The one thing that I was dying for when they said they were going to release this part of their 100th anniversary, okay, Steven Spielberg, I know that you've done countless interviews, I know that you're all over the 2-hour documentary of the making of the movie. For the love of God, man, record an audio commentary. Now, granted, it's probably one of those things where there's just so much to talk about, you can't do it, but still, it would be really nice to have an audio commentary from the director, or anybody for that matter, while you're watching the film. For instance, you could answer that question of when we're seeing the orca at dusk, when there's a shooting star going overhead. I've had the argument where I believe that it's an actual shooting star, and other people think that it's an issue with the film. Clear that up for us, please, or anybody watching this, feel free. But anyway, Jaws on Blu-ray, go out and buy this Blu-ray. I don't care if you have a shitty TV, an excellent TV, you will notice a difference with this movie. Jaws, Blu-ray, spend the money.